And we are live. Welcome, everybody. This is Connections Unplugged, and I'm your girl, Krisa Skodra, or as we say in Greek, Krisa Skodra. Let me hear. Can you repeat? Krisa Skodra. That's me. Thank you for tuning in and watching us. This is my weekly episode of Connections Unplugged. This has been a concept on my mind for a very long time, and I finally started this year, powered by OneStream Live. The concept is very simple. As the subheading of the show says, from LinkedIn to live, I bring my LinkedIn connections to live. One story, one LinkedIn connection, one person at a time. So my vision is to introduce you to all the amazing 5,000 something connections that I have on my LinkedIn profile. Of course, the number is growing, but more or less it's around there. So if I were to even go live every single day and bring to you one person every day, it will take me, with some rough calculations, 16.5 years. So stay tuned. God willing, this is a long-standing show. So I want to explore with you, my guests, who they are on a personal level, but also as professionals, as LinkedIn is a professional platform. And today I would like to welcome into the studio Cesar Carvajal. Do I say it correctly?
Cesar Carvajal.
Carvajal, like Grisa. So, Cesar, nice to have you here on the studio on Connections Unplugged. On your LinkedIn profile, the headline reads Media Manager at MexMediaAgency. And you are an entrepreneur, a content creator, a marketing strategist. You have a passion for many things. You're the founder of MexMediaAgency. You'll tell us all about this. I'm very curious to know what you do there. You say that you have a passion for personal growth, also collaborating with others, creativity. So I want to know who you are as a person and as a professional. Are you ready?
Yes, excited.
Great. So we have, I think, a lot of things in common. But first of all, the only thing I know is that you've been living in Finland, as we both based in Finland, for the past 8 years. I've been living for 20 years myself. But tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, what your childhood was like, what's your cultural, ethnic background?
Thank you, Krisha. It's been a ride. I've been in Finland, like you said, for 8 years and a little bit more. I was a trained chef in the very beginning, and as a nomad chef, I was living and traveling and cooking. And when I came upon Finland, I had a job opportunity here to stay. My second passion.
Where are you from originally?
Mexico.
Mexico, yes. And you were a chef where? In Mexico or in some other European country?
In Spain, Denmark. I was touring Europe, really.
Touring Europe. So from Mexico, you found yourself in Europe. And then what was that decisive moment where you said, okay, now, or what brought you to Finland?
The working opportunity here when I was 28 kind of really started everything. And I wanted financial freedom and time freedom, location freedom. So media was the way for me.
Mm-hmm. And you're not a love immigrant in Finland. Is it more like job opportunities that brought you to Finland? You haven't found a Finnish woman, the typical story.
I didn't fall into that stereotype, I would say. The job opportunity as a head chef got me here.
So you were a chef and you turned entrepreneur, because then you later on, when did you discover that you have a passion for content creation, a passion for media? Or was it always hand in hand? Of course, cooking is a very creative field as well. And to be honest, even though I'm a journalist, if I could turn back time and I was 18 again, I would go to culinary school. I told my parents this,
Interesting.
So you went the other way around. But what was that moment when you thought that, okay, cooking, perhaps I like to cook for at home with my friends and my family, but media is I want to do professionally?
Communication was in the bottom of everything, I would say. Connection with people. In the culinary world, there's not a lot of connection to the client unless open kitchen, but I was missing that connection. And I also wanted to be on the other side of the kitchen, to eat more, etc.
Mm-hmm. All right. And tell us a little bit about the agency that you're having now. Did you establish it immediately when you came to Finland 8 years ago, or was it a process that took you time to have the business idea or establish the company, or how long the company has been running for?
Being in Helsinki, I noticed that they encourage the reinvention of every individual. So, looking for financial freedom, I thought I wouldn't put a restaurant here. So then digital was the way to go. So reinventing into digital.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of services you're offering to your clients?
It's tailored based, but all communication, all content creation, video editing is a big part of it. And
Mm-hmm.
every brand that needs to come across into their audience and into their customers to fine tune that message is the core of MexMedia, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And do you, is it a one-man show? Do you do it all yourself, or do you have a network of other professionals, freelancers that help you? How big is the company?
I like keeping a one-to-one with every client, but networking is for sure the way to go to get farther in life. So yes, collaboration with other entrepreneurs, because I encourage the teamwork, but also being independent.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be around 5 to 10 creators who, in their specialty, collaborate into the clients.
What are the trends that now they're up and coming, or you see in the near future, or what do you hear from the clients that you're dealing with on an everyday basis? Do they have certain wishes for now or for the near future? How short or mid or long-term projects you have with them, and what do you think is sort of, where do you advise them, hey, look into this, look into that? Is it, do you offer some unique or new ideas to them, or do they want specific things for now that they're traditional or well established, or do you try also to give sort of new ideas to them?
I have two focus points with every client, including in my life and my professional life. The first one is to have people develop their emotional intelligence in their professional life.
Mm-hmm.
So if a client is not communicating properly with their audience or their own clients, then fine tune the psychological part. And the second part that I'm a big proponent of is AI as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
I think those two are in the core of MexMedia and
Right.
myself.
And let me see here your website. I have it here. I could share it perhaps. Is this the right one?
That is not the right one.
Okay,
MexMediaAgency.com takes you to the main page.
because this is what is there on Google at least. So I blame Google for this.
I guess my SEO is more prominent on that one.
All right. So is it then
MediaAgency.com.
Mex Media Agency? I thought I'd write that, but somehow it jumped to this. Let's get that straight here. And sorry about this. Yes, that's right. Yeah, that looks right. I've seen this before. Now we're talking. So let me share the correct website. This means that we are live. These things happen. So here we have your lovely website. Walk us through a little bit the services you offer, solutions you talked about, video creation, and what are the some of the unique solutions that you're offering to your clients?
I believe in expansion. So every media, every asset, every photo or video should create expansion in the viewer's eye and in the creator's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So photos, videos, anything that they need, I would discuss with each client individually why they think they need an ad, why they think they need a website, and narrow down how to communicate with their target audience.
Yeah. And is it so your clients mostly entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, startups, or do you have also larger companies, or you tailor-made your offering to their needs?
I want startups to be able to reach wide audiences. Sometimes a big corporation already has like a square way to work. So startups being very bootstrapped and being very light on their feet,
Mm-hmm.
I empathize more with startups.
All right. Tell us a little bit some of the companies and the startups you have been having as your clients or helping them in the journey. Do you have some success stories or unique examples to share what you have done for them and how well it was received?
One of the most recent ones is 18 Wheels. They have an incredible innovative concept. They are based here in Helsinki. And even though the Finnish market is a bit tricky to get into, their worldwide vision is what I want to help them get to. So as a content creator, I want to understand the viability of media and tailor-make something with a client with a viability mindset.
So, what would be if you would tell a little bit about you talk about AI and variability and the power of video. If you look further down, do you have, of course, we're not prophets, but I guess you read a lot and you see what's happening perhaps in other countries as well. And sometimes, let's say, things that happen in the US or elsewhere or in China, maybe they come with delay to Europe later on. Have you identified something or something personally that you feel that should be more up and coming, that is going to be the next big thing that people, companies, startups should be really already now doing, placing some efforts and working on?
Amazing question. I see that as an opportunity, the fact that Finland is a little bit behind the trends. I see the emotional intelligence side, connecting the entrepreneur with a higher mindset, with a higher consciousness, so to speak, to be able to tap into ideas and, so to speak, manifest the scaling worldwide. So I think that psychological side of the entrepreneur could manifest itself into scaling worldwide.
Since we're talking about mindset and manifesting, and because I believe in that also, when I was teaching at the University of Life Sciences, Haaga-Helia here in Finland, I often gave my students, or was coaching the startup school students as well, this exercise called Remembering the Future. So I wanted them to teleport to the future and remember it in retrospective. So if we were to do this exercise, I think this is very good, because often maybe companies don't have the ability to see what's happening, and they're just so invested in the now and so on. We talked about the cultural differences. You're a Mexican, I'm a Greek. We're based in Finland, in Europe, in the Nordics, more specifically, Northern Europe. So what are the cultural perspectives, the differences that you see? Because also I understand the startup world in Finland is very diverse, very international. Do you see cultural differences, and how do you navigate when there are amongst individuals or international multicultural companies different perspectives of things? How do you navigate that reality?
When you said the envision the future and bring it now, I felt it. I really did.
Goosebumps.
Yes. The the way I see this internationality that we're living now, 2025, I see it, of course, as an opportunity. Once you see that the cultures have different way that they use their brain, their psychology, it really brings a more circled mind. If, for example, the culture here in Finland could be low context type of culture, and in Latin America we have high context, then blending both of them together, being blunt while being sensitive and empathetic, that will bring the real synergy among cultures.
And you're right, the magic happens really. You pick the best out of every culture. If you would have only one mindset, that creates groupthink, right? The disaster of the Challenger was brought down and people died, astronauts died just because of groupthink, because the engineers couldn't get different perspectives, and they wanted to make sure that we confront to what the group says. And I believe as well that the beauty comes from this diverse perspectives. If we look at the landscape now in Finland for the companies that you're working with and you want to advise, because you said that you work a lot with video. Have you considered, for instance, live streaming, or is it something that is in the offering? We are live streaming now with the power of OneStream Live, another Finnish company based on Espoo. So OneStream Live enables us to create really from the browser here from my online virtual studio, very well branded, professional looking live streams, either pre-recorded or completely live, and multi-streaming them to different social media destinations. Is there such a trend, you think, or a space for some brands to really put their voice out there, communicate continuously, authentically, show their face, make their voice audible? What do you think about this way of and these tools that we have available?
Because of this tool, we connected, I would say. It came a notification, the streaming as a service, the energy, the connection between the speaker and the host and the guests, multiple, that was the key. So this tool right here, I would say, was key. It was important to really connect with the audience and with among speakers.
Great. I will. How do you find OneStream Live so far, Cesar? You access it as a guest. I think it's very easy. Or what was your journey?
Really easy. It looks fantastic, user friendly. It gives the information sufficient for people to connect, the audience to relate. So it's been a great experience, really.
Great. Maybe you can jump on board to using this tool. Maybe you're the next brand ambassador of OneStream Live, and I think your clients would see perhaps the power of it. But let's come back to you. I would like to ask you a little bit about your personal who you are, a little more deeper. We talk a little bit about your chef career, a little bit about the childhood, but is it difficult, as we're talking about the culture differences, from a personal perspective, apart from the professional? Because I think everyone who has been a foreigner in another country, new language, new way of doing things, some challenges, of course, as you said, Finland gives the opportunity for reinventing yourself, re-establishing, re-educating. Entrepreneurship is very big, but do you feel as a Mexican man in a Nordic country, in a European country, that you had to prove you're 10 times better to be considered half good? Did you face challenges, or was everything so straightforward and you were happy and lucky to have good people to help you along the way? Tell me a little bit about the challenges, if you faced any.
The professional life was very welcoming. I was able to find a person who believed in me to run the kitchen, and that worked very welcoming into the country. the people and the clients were enjoying the food. So everything was welcoming on the professional life. Now the challenges came on the personal life, because being the seasons very well marked here in Finland, where the winter is important, in any other country, I didn't have that retreat into oneself, kind of like into a solitude moment where I have to be with myself only. In Mexico, there's a lot of people, the climate is very warm, so we're always active and we have like this always running mentality, a bit workaholic. And here it was like grabbing to slow pace.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I can completely relate. And I think that really battles the stereotype that Finns have. They think they work very well and efficiently and hard, and then they think that maybe the lazy Greeks or the lazy Mexicans, and it's so hot and they do siesta all the time. And if I, from the data also, Greece is one of the countries in Europe. I think it's number one country with the most work hours weekly. People are workaholic. Work is number one. This is the problem. I don't say that it's good to be workaholic, but I agree with you. When I came to Finland, of course, also they know that they have the work-life balance here. But also, I think it's interesting that you mention about the Mexican perspective and how work and hard work ethic is totally different than what is considered. Or I don't know if Finns are, maybe they're more methodical and efficient, or I don't know, something. But at 4 o'clock, they close their laptops and they go home and they pick up their kids or they do their hobbies. They're somewhere running on the street, even though it's -10. Tell me a little bit about, you said that you didn't have that moment really to self-reflect or to find inner peace, but what are the things that you enjoy doing here, and where you find that you're now in touch with your true self and you can really recuperate after a long day? And what do you enjoy as a person?
I enjoy being able to leave work where work ends and taking time for hobbies. I enjoy having a podcast. I enjoy communicating, doing things like you. I would probably still be in the kitchen if I was in Mexico until the closing.
What hobbies do you have? Do you practice in sports or?
I am often with the camera. I plan the podcast is taking a lot of my time, communicating, learning about emotional intelligence. So a lot of introspecting and absorbing and learning during this season. And then in the summer, I know it will be higher active. So that balance on seasons, because as a person, we also have seasonal behaviors. So that marked a pace I've come fond here in Finland.
It's nice that you mentioned about the seasonal, and I do see that. They also say, recently I saw, and when I read it, I thought that it made sense. Of course, I sort of knew it in the back of my head, that they say that women and the men, first of all, due to testosterone, which is the leading hormone in their body, they have the daily circle as the sun. So the testosterone goes up in the morning and daytime, and then it goes down when it's night, and so on. So that's the 24-hour clock, like the day, like the sun. Wherever women are more lunar, like the moon, they have a 28 circle regulated by their periods and their hormone changes, their estrogen levels, and so on. So I agree with you that if you think about, we are humans, and what are we? The biggest percentage in our body is even water. So like most living organisms on this planet. So let's sum it up. You like video, camera, photography also, right? Content creation.
Psychology.
Psychology, yes. Emotional intelligence, reading, studying, the brain, the soul, yes. You enjoy still cooking food, right?
Yeah, I want to come back to the love of it besides the work of it.
Are you the person that does the cooking at home, or
Uh, Half and half.
all right?
It's shared.
Right. And then you said that in summer you're more active and so on. Where do you see yourself if we look past the summer? What kind of legacy you want to leave behind in the years to come? Do you have something for, like, how would you like to be remembered? What it would be something that it would be important people that met Cesar to know that he was this kind of man, a person?
I want very, very interesting question. Every human should do that question for themselves. I want to be an ambassador of mental health and intelligence to connect with intuition. So, an ambassador to emotional intelligence is my official answer.
An ambassador to emotional intelligence. Great. And this is, I guess, something that is, you mentioned it already many times during this time we're talking. Where is this passion to psychology or emotional intelligence, and how did it resonate with you? When was the first time you read about emotional intelligence and you said, okay, yeah, this is what I want my focus to be. This is how I want to be remembered. Why it plays a role in you?
It's crucial because through therapy, you make peace and understand your parts of the brain, of personalities. You understand that the childhood is a key moment to form your personality for life, kind of. And having even teachers who are more aware, like mentally aware, emotionally aware, would take away most of the kind of bad trauma from childhood. And I don't want that future generations have the same like frictions that we would have or past generations would have. Now we're living in an era of information. I think there's a sort of emotional revolution, a psychological mindset revolution, where we want to reach higher consciousness, and that connection among humans on Earth will really bring wellness to each individual. I think it will unite us as a species.
Mm.
And I didn't grow up seeing it this way. I didn't grow up thinking that, oh, how many parts, no bad parts of my personality, how do I connect all of them? It's just so mind-boggling. I didn't know this before, and I want that everyone comes to peace with themselves and understands themselves for the overall peace of the world.
Mm. I during the Valentine's Day, or I had a pleasure to interview Dr. Gary Chapman. He's a best-selling author. He has coined the concept of the five love languages. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Um, and that's a question I like to ask to people. I was familiar with the concept many, many years ago, and then I spoke with the legendary Dr. Gary Chapman. He opened up more the concept. He talks about the five love languages that humans have. Of course, we're multimodal and we don't have one thing, or we're not labeled one thing. Maybe we have a strong preference into something. But what would you say is your love language? It's words of affirmation, quality time, gift giving, acts of service. Sort of, let's say, oh, I'll do the grocery, I'll do the laundry. That's an act of service. And what a physical touch. What would it be for you as a person, the love language, if you think about how you, from your parents, even how you felt that your parents loved you? Was it that they made it? Because for me, being Greek, my parents didn't say I love you, but they cooked for me. So
Mm.
that was an act of service. I give you this food. It's good. It's warm. It's not a frozen pizza. It has good ingredients. And that's the way I show my love to you. Or I take you to school, or I do things for you, make your life easier. So that's how I show. How about you? here as we have guest stars happening. So what is your love language?
Service, absolutely service. It's so selfless to give time, effort. It kind of includes quality time. It kind of includes gift giving. It kind of includes or not touching, but service is the key one for me. That I like giving and receiving.
Mm-hmm. You talked about the emotional intelligence before. I asked you about the love languages. So, what do you think about AI? This is a topic that is very, the past few years now on top of everybody's lips, and this is something probably you're working on your media agency as well, or you're looking into. But what do you think about the future? And as you talk about this global human approach, but then again we have AI. Do you see any dangers or perils related to that, or do you think that still the human race will go above and beyond those dangers, that potential dangers that could happen?
I see symbiosis happening. I don't see a big danger in it itself because the greed is human. So a human taking that tool with greed, with ego, with the wrong intentions is the real danger. The machine itself, I wouldn't say it has innate desires. Like it doesn't have greed. It doesn't want to have or control. I would say a bad human with that tool is the real danger.
Mm. And since you're a chef, I will tell you what we say in Greece. We say that a knife can spread the butter, but it can also kill. So the problem is not the knife. The problem is who holds the knife. So a tool is a tool, and the use of it is made by the users of it.
Sorry to interrupt. If the world itself would come into their own ego death, it would come into its own inner peace, and it would learn that empathy with each other. The knife wouldn't hurt, because then we don't need to take from the others. We don't need to kill. If we all take away that greed, then it really comes world peace. So connection with that emotional side, to me, is the source of all the solution to all problems.
Do you think that people think like you, or when you're saying these concepts, people think that what is he talking about? Or do you think that it resonates with people, or it takes a certain kind of intellect and emotional intelligence to understand what you're saying and agree with this? Because it's not an easy thing, because I think we live in a very selfish society and very egotistical and egocentric, and how I agree with you. That's a utopian, that's ideal, right? How do we reach that in practice? How do we make everybody think like this?
The world will get crazier and will get harder before it gets easier. I believe now in this era, not the Egyptian, not any other era, was the whole world as connected. One good message that's inspiring and that is viral will reach so many people in a way that they will be, quote unquote, awakened into what we really need as a human species. So I think this era with AI, with social media, is kind of the right tool to reach kind of peace.
And now I see that the sun is hitting you beautifully there. I'm looking here to my window, my right. I don't see so much sun, so you're very happy to have that.
Yes, the signal.
There, enjoy. You're illuminating when you say that. So maybe the skies are opening, and that tells something already. So Cesar, tell me a little bit, if you would have a question to my next guest here, what would you like to ask them? Or do you have a question that you like to ask to people to pick their brains and understand who they are in essence, who they truly are? Or when you're interviewing people, or when you're just meeting someone new, is there one question that gives you a lot of insights about what kind of person they are?
How the question has to do with transcendence. How is what you're doing transcendent into the well-being of humanity?
Do you believe, because another great interview I had was with Joe Pine, the man who has written about the economic progression and talked about the experience economy. He's the one who coined the term experience economy. He has a new book coming out talking about exactly, as you said, the transformation economy. So he says we are moving away from the experience economy where every job, every workplace is a theater, right? You have to deliver a memorable experience. So it builds up also the economic progression. You're not just selling a cup of coffee. You're not just a cafe offering that service, but you make it an experience that it's memorable. He goes now in his next book to talk about transformation, the transformational economy, and transcendence. And I think that's on top of the Maslow's hierarchy of need, or the needs of the updated version. So what do you think needs to happen so we really reach that full potential of ourselves as individuals? Because it's a difficult concept even to grasp, right? How do you have any practical ways and tools? Like, how do you work with yourself to ensure that I'm reaching out as an individual, as a professional, the highest level that I can reach, to transcend, to transform, to go to sort of the reach the higher levels of my existence?
The answer, I would say, lies within. We keep on looking outwards, like into Mars and colonize, etc. While most of the answers, I think, would come from within. So the real journey is going inwards, and all the manifestations from those results will manifest outwards eventually. But we need to imagine it first in order to be created.
Oh, we are so on the same page. And that's my favorite line. I've always been saying that if you can imagine it, you can make it happen. And that's true. You know how the brain is working and painting those pictures. And if you're able to visualize it, they say that it's from your imagination, the human brain is as vast as the universe. But what you said about Mars, I think with me, maybe because this is so close to my heart, I love everything that has to do with space. So let's say if they were to recruit the first people on a mission to Mars, even though the trip would be 9 months and you would be half asleep, throughout the journey, I would volunteer. So yes, to introspection, but also having these goals for yourself that I think doing very brave. Do you have such aspirations that you would do? Like, what's the most extreme thing that you really want to achieve? For me, I would say, honestly, it's space travel. I would volunteer. If my son is an adult, I would hug him, tell him I love him. I said, Mommy will go on this mission. I don't know. What do you think? What are your craziest goals?
Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
I would say astral travel, astral projection. I want to connect outside of what we see into what connects us as human. So astral projection is my word.
We should make a new show, Astral Connections. We have our own show. We talk about all kinds of things. Then this is, I think, a little bit advanced level.
Crazy, yeah, I know. You said the craziest dream, and that's one of them.
it will be our niche. We talk about all these kind of things. We are the geeks there. There's geeks, I think, like us on LinkedIn. So is there, Cesar, anything else you would like to absolutely mention to everybody watching this, and tell it from your mouth? You have the floor. Say it as you feel it should be said.
Introspect, to make peace with yourself, love yourself, and you will absolutely love everyone around you. You will love them more. You will serve them better, and that inner peace will bring everyone's peace.
Amen. Inner peace and peace around the world and in our minds and souls. And I think that will bring a lot of happiness and not this agitation. So great to have you, Cesar. Let me get that right at least one more time. Let me see it. Here it is. Your name, Cesar Carvajal.
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 Cesar Carvajal. Cesar Carvajal, and this is his company. Check it out. Your Media Solutions partner, MexMediaAgency, based in Helsinki, run by this man here, my new friend Cesar Carvajal. Great. So thank you for joining me, Cesar. I hope you enjoyed it. It was time well spent from your day.
Very well spent. Thank you so much, Krisha.
Thank you so much. Pleasure was all mine. Thank you, everybody. Bye, Cesar. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening. This is Connections Unplugged. And if you want to be featured in the show, join me here. I'll get a chance to pick your brains and ask you questions. And we'll talk about your story the way you like it to be told. I hope I take the best out of my guests. I heard some good feedback today. Someone said that, Krisa, you have this great trade to really take the best out of your guests and make them shine. Hopefully Cesar felt the same way. Hopefully you enjoyed our discussion, and happy to have you on my show. If we are connected on LinkedIn, or if we're not, send me a request to connect. And if we are and you want to have a chat with me, you're very welcome to do so. So have a nice rest of the week, everybody, and I will see you next Wednesday at 11 o'clock Finnish time, Eastern European time. Bye.